Good afternoon, it's Roger Gilbert here from Milling and Grain Magazine. I'm in San Antonio, Texas in the USA attending the AFIA's Equipment Manufacturers Conference. It's a two-day event and we just closed it this afternoon in fact, and I'm here with Gary Huddleston, who's one of the organisers, and he's the Director of Feed Manufacturing and Regulatory Affairs for AFIA. One of the topics on the program today was about this new ISO standard that's being discussed for feed equipment manufacturers globally. ISO is a standard that everybody recognizes as having value internationally, especially in trade, and the feed industry is beginning to look at ISO for itself as far as equipment is concerned. Gary, you gave us a presentation this morning on this subject. Could you explain a little bit of detail behind what the purpose is for an ISO standard, please?
Yeah, the ISO standards is obviously International Standards Organization, what that stands for, and so these are standards for design and safety and different issues in manufacturing of equipment so that it'll probably help in international trade. And so this work got started. One of my jobs within AFA is to work with the Equipment Manufacturers Committee, and that's how we became aware of this work. And so that's how I'm involved, and they ended up electing me as the tag chairman, so I'm in charge of our mirror committee within the U.S. To participate in this work. But so we're working with the different countries that will be involved in. It's Technical Committee 293, so that's the official ISO technical committee that we're working with, and it's stationary feed machinery, so it's processing equipment within a feed plant is what the scope of this particular standard is. And so the areas that we're working with is terminology, safety, and equipment hygiene. So that's the three different areas that we're working with.
And is this for equipment within the feed mill? Does the feed mill have to comply for this ISO standard, or is it specifically about the equipment itself?
Yes, specifically about the equipment, so that once the equipment's manufactured and designed to meet the standards, the feed mill wouldn't have to be concerned about it, but it would be the manufacturer of the equipment would be the entity that needs to be concerned about the standards.
And how far along in the process is this committee, or is the ISO?
Well, it started in 2014 was when it officially was approved by the ISO's Technical Management Board. But as far as the amount of work we've done, we've not got very far. We've been working up until this, we're almost to 2019, and so far all we've worked on is terminology. And we've not got anything yet past the committee draft stage, but there's been some drafted standards that didn't pass, and so we're going to be discussing those more to try to get them in a format where the whole committee will agree and pass them.
And how important is it to have other countries and other equipment manufacturers involved in this process?
Oh, it's very important. So far, and the downside of this work so far, it's been the U.S. and China doing about 99% of the work. Pakistan and Iran has been on some of the calls, but we've between us two countries, we've done most of the work, and that doesn't really bode well for an international standard. So we need more of a international flavor to this committee.
And how can other countries or representatives of their industries get involved?
So the first thing you need to do is know whether your country is a participating member or an observing member. And if you're a participating member, then that means your National Standards Board is already voting. So just get aware of if you work for a company, be aware of what that position is and get involved with the mirror committee within your country. If you're in a country that's just an observing member, that means you're not voting. And so I would suggest contact your National Standards Organization and tell them to get in contact with ANSI and start a mirror committee and get involved.
And as far as the timetable is concerned, what happens next?
The next thing that we've got on slate is our second plenary meeting, which is of this committee. It's in January in Winterthur, Switzerland, and so we're going to go there and we'll be discussing the work of the terminology working groups that's worked so far. I think there's going to be things on the agenda about safety and hygiene, equipment hygiene as well. But we'll just have to see how that unfolds.
So, when it comes to equipment manufacturing, is this an international standard? I.e., what I mean by that, is it for equipment that's traded across borders, or is it also a standard for within countries?
Both, yeah. It'll be, a lot of countries will adopt the ISO standards as part of their own national standards. So, the ISO is probably the most important standards organization in the world. So that's why it becomes important both nationally and internationally for most countries.
And I think, Gary, on that note, how important this is to the feed equipment manufacturer, no matter which country you're in, it should be noted and should be involved. So please contact your local representatives for ISO standards and become involved in this very important process. But Gary, thank you very much on behalf of our readers and our viewers. Good luck with the work in front of you.
Thank you so much, and we appreciate you letting us have this opportunity. And our message is you don't want to get surprised. If you're an equipment manufacturer, you don't want to get surprised by new standards that you didn't help create. So get involved.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.